Welcome to the deep dive. Ever stop and think how, say, a conflict halfway across the world or maybe a new farming method
Ah,
ends up affecting the rice right there on your plate? Well, today we're jumping into exactly that, the really dynamic and sometimes pretty turbulent world of rice. It's a staple for billions, after all. Okay, let's get into it.
absolutely. And what we're looking at today comes from a whole stack of recent reports, but especially this really detailed weekly one from June 30th, 2025. It's all about the global rice market. Our mission really is to pull out the key stuff, the big global shifts, some regional headaches, and actually some pretty surprising innovations happening in rice.
Yeah, we want to figure out what's really making waves in this, vital global commodity and what it means for you. So first off, let's tackle some of this global market turmoil. It feels like there are these huge pressures kind of squeezing the market from different sides. Let's start with India. Their basmati rice seems to be in a bit of a crisis. We're seeing prices drop hard
Yeah.
from like $950 down to $700 a ton.
Exactly. It's a sharp drop. And it's really a double whammy. There are US tariffs in the background, yeah, but the immediate hit is the conflict between Israel and Iran.
Ah, okay. How does that connect?
Well, Iran is India's number 2 market for basmati, and they've just stopped imports completely.
Wow.
Yeah. So you've got something like an estimated $360 million worth of rice just stuck, shipments stranded.
$360 million. That's huge.
It really is. And it's pushing domestic prices down, too. They might fall another, $60 a ton when the next harvest comes in?
That's a massive ripple effect.
Right.
And it's not just India feeling the pinch, is it? Thailand's prices are way down too.
Oh, absolutely. Thai patty rice prices, they've hit a 17-year low. We're talking just $137 per ton.
$137.
Yeah.
That's incredibly low, a 17-year low.
Yeah, it really highlights the pressure farmers are under when supply just surges like this. And you can see the government scrambling.
What are they doing?
They're seriously considering support payments, something like $342 per hectare for farmers.
Makes sense, especially if supply is the issue.
Exactly, because they saw this huge jump, 151% increase in farmers growing rice during the dry season. So boom, oversupply, prices tanked.
So while India and Thailand are dealing with these like big market swings, Sri Lanka's got a different kind of problem, more internal.
Kind of, yeah. They've decided to import 40,000 tons of rice. They need to replace this premium local variety, Kiri Samba, because there just isn't enough.
Okay, but didn't I see they have a really high import tax, like $220 a ton?
You did. That's what's so interesting. They are importing despite that huge tax.
I pay that much.
Well, the backstory is that back in 2024, farmers switched away from growing Kiri Samba. The yields weren't great, and prices for another variety, Nadu, were going up. So now there's a shortage of the preferred Kiri Samba, and importing, even with the tax, is how they're filling that gap. It shows how local taste meets global markets.
Right. Fascinating. Okay, so after all that slightly gloomy news, it's good to see a bright spot somewhere. Pakistan.
Yeah, Pakistan's having a great run exporting rice to China. Their exports just shot up 121% in the first 5 months of this year, over $32 million worth.
121%. Wow. What's the deal with the China connection?
Well, it seems China sees Pakistan as a sort of strategic partner here. And interestingly, a big chunk of this rice, maybe 35%, isn't just for people to eat directly
Oh, okay.
into China's processed food industry. So rice as an ingredient, not just a staple grain, it kind of points to shifting consumption patterns globally.
Interesting. And quickly, those week-over-week prices you mentioned for that standard 5% broken rice, week of June 23rd.
Right. Quick snapshot. Thailand was down about $388 a ton. Vietnam down $4 to $383. Mostly global competition, especially from India, pushing that. But India was actually up slightly, $2 to $385. Mostly currency effects, a stronger rupee helping there.
Got it. Okay, let's zoom in a bit now. Vietnam seems like a really interesting case. You've got opportunities, challenges, and some cool innovation all happening there.
Definitely. There's good news, like Vietnamese rice, including fancy types like ST25, jasmine, even stuff labeled sushi rice getting popular in Austria.
Austria, why there?
Well, healthy eating trends are part of it, but also trade deals. That EVFTA, the free trade agreement between Vietnam and the EU, it's cutting tariffs.
Ah, so it makes their rice cheaper, more competitive.
Exactly. Gives them a real leg up in the European market.
Okay, and sticking with positive stuff, there's this new loan program, Agribank and DCRD.
Yeah, launched June 25th. Agribank is a big agricultural bank. DCOD is the Department of Cooperatives and Rural Development. And this program, it's backing high-quality, low-emission rice farming down in the Mekong Delta. It's part of this bigger vision, aiming for 1 million hectares of this kind of sustainable rice by 2030.
1 million hectares.
Wow.
So greener farming, better income for farmers?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
But, it's not all smooth sailing. Climate change is hitting hard, too.
Nice.
Well, around the same time, late June, heavy rains caused severe flooding up in the northern provinces. Reports said nearly 700 hectares of rice and other crops were underwater. Baekjeong province was hit worst, about half of that total.
Oof. A stark reminder of the climate vulnerability.
For sure. But then, amidst challenges like that, you see this really clever adaptation, this shrimp rice farming model.
Shrimp rice.
Yeah.
Tell me more. That sounds interesting. Where's that happening?
Mostly in the Mekong Delta again. It covers about 160,000 hectares now. Basically, farmers rotate shrimp farming and rice cultivation in the same fields.
Okay, how does that help?
Well, it cuts costs, uses fewer chemicals, which is great for the environment, actually improves the soil, and crucially boosts farmer income. It's a really neat, sustainable system.
Are there downsides?
There are still challenges, yeah. Things like needing better infrastructure, making sure farmers can get good quality seeds consistently, but the potential is huge.
So, bringing this all together, what does it mean for you listening? It really seems like all these threads, the global market shocks, the local farming choices, the innovations, they're all tangled together.
They really are.
It paints a picture of just constant change, constant adaptation needed in this massive global market. It shows how complex it is, but also how resilient the whole system tries to be against politics, economics, weather.
Exactly right. It underscores the incredible resilience and, frankly, the adaptability that's demanded from everyone involved. From the farmers facing floods or tanking prices, right up to the traders navigating these big geopolitical storms.
Which leaves us with something to think about. As these global shifts keep happening and these local innovations take root, what does that ultimately mean for food security? For sustainable farming worldwide? Maybe even, how might it change what you actually see on the supermarket shelves in the next few years?